click on my Venmo history. Well, that's probably on there. We got. You think you got that? Now the whole world knows my Venmo history.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on. There it is. Look at that. Beautiful. We are back. I feel like I say that every week. We are back.
We're always back.
But we are.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time when we're not back?
I don't think so.
But yeah, you want to get it rolling?
Yeah, we should. Welcome back to the COG Weekly podcast, season 3, episode 21.
Indeed. Episode 21. We've got a lot to talk about this week. Obviously, the Hassani of the week first, but we're also going to cover Champions League, our predictions from last week, and our predictions for this week, as well as just anything
really
that happens
what
in the chat.
Not really what we wanted from the predictions.
Well,
we'll get to. But.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize with predictions that you're almost always going to get them wrong.
Yeah.
You're never going to have a good record.
No, but it's cool when you do get one right.
Megan said hello there. Hello to you. Hopefully your night is going swell and you are enjoying it watching the COG Weekly podcast. Producer Sutton gave me a bit of a smirk back there. I don't know if he liked that.
Yeah.
That sort of wording.
It's an interesting word to use.
What, swell?
Yeah, I've never heard that one before.
You've never heard swell used?
No, it's just it's an old one, I'd say.
It's coming back.
I think it's making a return.
Yeah.
I think there's somewhat of a
We
return,
started it,
but-
too.
Yeah. Well, people are going to say COG Weekly
Yeah.
returned to swell.
Yeah.
So let's get this podcast off swell. Ave Green said, love your new logo. Hello.
Thank you, Ave.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Suddy's back there laughing again. Suddy is taking a liking to these new comments. Megan said, swell Wednesday evening. It is. It is a very swell Wednesday evening.
There's no better way to spend it than talking over the Hassani of the week options.
So without further ado, we have 3. I just held up a 2 and a 3. That's 5. We have 3 selections. Yeah, we can do that too. Yeah, like 3-pointer for the NBA. Nice.
Well, and
we'll get back there. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
We have 3 selections for the Hassani of the week for this week, as always, beginning with the one on the right, the Mr. Tottenham Hotspur. Maybe not for long, but obviously one of their best players, if not their best player in the last however many years. And it is Harry Kane, who had a fantastic week, 2 goals and 1 almost assist. The reason I say it's an almost assist is
it's
because
a second assist.
Yeah, Kulusevski scored it. Son passed it to him, but the initial ball to Son from Kane was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So I kind of count that as an assist. And then he had 2 goals already on top of that. One which was a volley off of one of Son's crosses throughout the game, and then the other one was a header to win it 3-2 against City, and on top of that, he had an offside goal during that game. So overall, fantastic performance from Kane, and it's a huge game, winning 3-2 against City. Super competitive game. Gundogan scored, Mara scored, he roofed a pen, and overall, I think that it was the right time to show up. I mean, he just did it in the right fashion.
Yeah, and it's when Spurs needed him most, and I remember in predictions we did say we both confidently said Man City will win this game, and obviously didn't. Tottenham, who have been very
shaky,
pretty poor recently, I'd say.
They started well with Kante, and then they dropped, and then they're kind of returning.
I
mean, just with this game.
Yeah, but they just lost to Burnley as well today, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not great. Did you see Kante's comments? Like, he's said it throughout his time at Tottenham, but like he's just saying like, oh, I took this job and it's Tottenham. Like,
yeah,
not really a lot of confidence in his job right now.
No,
like, he's saying like it's gonna take time.
It is similar to what you might have seen from Jose Mourinho back in his time, when they're great managers, but the confidence is either over the moon or not quite there, and they don't. I mean, you've seen a trend with Mourinho. He gets to teams, he thinks he's the best, and his team is fantastic, and then about 6 months to 2 years in, he says, I don't have the right players to make it work here, almost as kind of an excuse to get out of the bad situation that he was already brought into but couldn't turn around. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there with that whole Tottenham situation, Antonio Kante. Another very valid member of the Hassani of the Week nomination team this week is Anthony Alenga, who scored 2 goals throughout the week. I'll talk about the first one. You can talk about the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the Champions League goal, and then you can obviously take Mr. Fulham after this.
Yes.
But he scored a fantastic Champions League goal, which made it 1-1 against Atletico Madrid. It was very well taken. I do think Jan Oblak was a bit off balance.
Yeah, he was a bit. I mean, also he scuffed it a little bit, but it went in the corner. So
it was placed well, but you just watched it roll in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, the positioning wasn't great there. Big draw, to be honest. For
no, it's
United.
big. Yeah, it's huge.
Instead of going 1-0 down, going back to Old Trafford, they're 1-1. No away goals count either, so it was a very big goal for a very young player up and coming. And then he also scored against Leeds earlier in the week, the 4th goal to kind of seal the game, also coming on as a sub, I believe. So he's getting in the goals.
He is.
I think, would you say drop Rashford maybe and start Alenga at this point?
I don't know if I'd go that far yet, but I would say that he has a large possibility of starting near the end of this season and especially next season. I think he needs a little bit more time to develop, because sometimes with these youngsters, you see they'll do well and perform well for a certain period of time. I mean, Anthony Alenga's the past month or two.
Yeah.
But then that pressure will kind of get to them if they start being put in situations where they need to continue to do that consistently, and they'll start to fall off. I think it's important to allow these youngsters to be inconsistent and bring them in because they're very talented, but not rely on them until they're more developed mentally and just technically and tactically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like we've seen that at a lot of clubs. Very young player scores a couple of goals, then gets the chance to start a few games, and then kind of burns off, and then people are like, oh, he should have never started, and things like that. But I think that's true. I think United Ralph should manage his time.
United Ralph.
Yeah, he should.
It's clear why we make the
There's a better Ralph.
Oh, there is.
Yeah,
there is.
I think managing his time, starting him some games, I think is good, to get his confidence up, but also, don't put all the pressure on him, like you said, to score goals.
Exactly.
A team that struggles.
Yeah. Just let him do what he can do without making the club rely on what he can do. Allow him to express himself, but not have the necessarily the backlash or pressure that other players might get with their performances. But overall, really happy to see it from a youngster. He's doing the gritty. He's getting
extra
into
points.
Extra points, 100%. People. Oh, we have we have had a technical difficulty, but I think it's all sorted out now.
It's all sorted out.
No problems there.
Great little
great little so I'm just trying to get it on the podcast, make sure that we all are able to connect. But
exactly,
the gritty gives extra points. It really does.
It really does. And I think you'll see that in our votes maybe later. That's mine.
I do agree. I mean, the only other player that did the gritty this week, who might have been someone to consider for the Hassani, but he didn't top these ones, was Christian, and his gritty wasn't as good. So therefore,
it was questionable.
It was a questionable
and
gritty.
he is American, and it is an American.
Yeah, I mean, it's a JJ thing, Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
So you got to think that Pulisic should be doing it better than Anthony Alenga, but clearly not based on the product that they both produced.
No, but
not ideal.
Mitrovic as our third player.
What a ledge.
Last but certainly not least.
Angie said in the chat, Mitro, a championship legend and Premier League blunder.
I mean, it's true so far. He's had 2 chances.
But he cannot be counted out for his legendary status in the championship and the Serbian national team. So
he broke the championship goal-scoring record for a single season with his 32nd goal today, and that broke Ivan Toney, I believe, from last year's record. But he still has 14 games left in the championship, which is insane.
Are we putting him, and this is going to be a very unqualified statement here, because I don't know the championship well enough. Like, if you look farther back than 2017. But do you think he could be considered for championship GOAT?
I mean, to be honest, in the past seasons that Fulham have been in the Prem, he's done very well. So it's not like this is just the only season he scored a bunch of goals. So I put him up there, honestly. I mean, I don't know who else comes to mind. Obviously, Tony, Mape, like Brentford Strikers, honestly.
Brentford Strikers
very
been
well.
fantastic. I wonder who their striker coach is.
Who is it?
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
I
thought
you thought that was a question?
Yeah.
It's me. I fly down there every week. You know, I train up the strikers over at Brentford. I make sure that I give them
Of course.
right treatment and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've developed some of the greats.
That's good.
To be fair, though, I would wonder who their striker coach is because,
Or even their scout, like their forward scout.
Because I just keep seeing Angie in the comments asking for a gritty contest between Pulisic and Kirk Cousins, which is.
I don't know if anyone wants to see
I wouldn't want to see that
No.
just because I don't feel like it would be pretty to watch. It would be kind of uncoordinated.
Yeah.
Especially Kirk.
I mean, Kirk and Pulisic are very similar in their gritty.
They are. Well, Pulisic, if we're just talking about that for a second.
Kirk's was better, I think.
He crossed his arms. I don't know if you can zoom in on me, Suddy, here, but he, like, crossed his arms.
I'll give it a shot here.
Yeah, let's see it. So, like, normally when you do the gritty, right, you're going hands to eyes, down, doing a little shimmy with your feet, hands to eyes, down. But Pulisic was like going
He
like
had him out
no,
to the
he
side,
wasn't crossed actually. He was out to the side, and then he was down. He was out to the side, and then he was down. So I mean, it was just poor.
Well, I will give him credit. The knee slide beforehand was very smooth.
Oh, it was.
As he always does, a very good knee slide. And I think he got a bit maybe overexcited and thought, well, I have to do the gritty now, but wasn't a lot of time as Havertz was there as well, ready to celebrate. So
Yeah.
maybe not the best decision.
No, I don't think so. And did you see like Havertz like slid in really late? And so in all of the videos where they were showing Christian's celebration, it was like he scored this beautiful goal and then he went and he knee slid and then they cut and Havertz was like mid-air trying to slide to get on the action and he just couldn't quite get there.
Exactly.
And then they cut to the poor gritty, so it was just kind of a weird moment. But yes, obviously I think that the gritty contest between Kirk and Pulisic is not something that many would want to see unless you're looking for a laugh. But back to the championship GOAT. St. Paul Browns clearly thinks that he said Mitro is the championship GOAT, hands down. I just don't know players dating back far enough to say that, but definitely since we've been watching.
I mean, the best individual season of any, obviously, by the record breaking.
Yeah.
And Fulham as well are breaking records as well for goal scoring and all that.
Yeah.
So see him hopefully back in the Prem, and maybe they won't get relegated again.
Exactly.
Right away.
So debating between the three, obviously, we have Kane, Elanga, and Mitrovic. Who you want to start with? We'll get a rating for each, and then we'll do a final like who was better.
So do you want I
want your rating
choice
on...
or all three?
Let's get your choice.
Okay. I'm going to go Elanga.
Anthony?
Yes, because very good gritty for multiple of his goals this season, not just the two lately, and then also just you love to see a young forward in a big team, struggling team get important goals, as he did for the Leeds game and the Atletico game. What about you?
So obviously there are many players to choose from, 3 players to choose from, but many things.
Too many to count.
Like there are many factors that go into it, and so it's kind of like the time when we chose Luca De La Torre. If I'm to choose Anthony Elanga, because I feel like we're choosing more based on style and who we enjoy watching as a player and who we want to excel.
Performance, in relative to the quality of player.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that there is somewhat of a like biasy in that regard. So I'm tempted to not say Anthony Elanga, but then also I really want to give it to him. So it's a tough one, but I will go Anthony Elanga. just because I think the goal was really good.
Yeah.
It was well taken, and I mean, he's done well. He scored 2 this week. He's been doing well, and I think he overall deserves it. I know some people are going to be like, why is Mane and Salah not in the mix? Why aren't we talking about them? Why wouldn't you choose Harry Kane, who pretty much single-handedly was able to push this Tottenham team ahead of Man City and make them drop points and put Liverpool back in the race?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you choose Mitro, who just broke a record? But I'm going to go Elanga. I like his... It's style, but I like his style.
Style points.
Swag 11, definitely.
He's on the bubble of a Swag 11
he
appearance.
He is.
Which we have to do still.
we're
have to
getting
update. We have to update.
We have to update the swag.
Um,
But I will say Anthony Elanga. But the reason that I'll say that is because I'm going to rate each of them highly. So I would rate Harry Kane an 8.5 on the week. I would rate Mitro an 8 on the week because I think that, breaking that record is unbelievable. And, I mean, obviously comparing to Sterling last week, who got a 7.5 with a hat trick.
Yeah.
These are hard standards to break. So these are great scores. And I'd give Elanga an 8.7. And the reason I do that, I don't think he's worthy of a 9, but I think the game significance of a Champions League game against Atletico, where Cristiano Ronaldo is playing them again, and you're in the round of 16, I think there's a lot of significance behind the goal that he scored, and I think that kind of pushes it over the edge for me. Also then scoring another goal this past week. So I put him at an 8.7 with the other two just behind. What would you put him at?
I would say similar. I'd say Kane and Mitro with 8s, and then Elanga. It's very even for me. I'd say 8s for Kane and Mitro, and then Elanga maybe around an 8.5. Should we meet in the middle with an 8.6?
Well, we also have the chat vote.
That's true.
So you go with whatever you want. Go with whatever you feel is suited. You can go 8.3.
Yeah.
You could go anything.
Mm-hmm. You can go 7 if you think it's just not good.
Yeah.
at all.
Anyone? What is yours?
8.5.
8.5. Okay. So chat. What are you guys saying? You'll have a minute. I'm getting the timer out. I'm just using the clock on the phone. But you have a minute to decide or put in the chat what you think. So right now we're at 8.7 and 8.5, which is obviously an 8.6 average, but you guys could sway that. I'd have a hard time believing that we'd have anyone who thinks low enough to put him below Raheem from last week.
Yeah.
That's low numbers that you have to bring. But give your numbers, give what you think. Obviously, we're rating him very highly.
Yeah.
With only 2 goals on the week, but
I mean, I would rather score a, game-sealing goal against Leeds and then a tying goal in the Champions League than score a hat-trick against Norwich, in my opinion.
Yeah.
To me.
Angie said Kane 9.0. Well, the problem with that is that Kane can't get a rating. That's the only problem with that. It would be a solid rating for Kane.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's so...
6.5.
6.5, okay.
That's going to bring it down a little
That
bit.
is going to bring it down.
It's fair.
Time's up in 10 seconds. We'll see if we have anything more. 8.7 plus 8.5 plus 6.5. 7.9. It's brought it down, but he's still ahead of Raheem. And I think that's maybe more respectable. I think that's very fair. Mitro had a good week, but he's had a sensational season, so I don't think he fits the Sonny of the week necessarily.
To me, Kane is above.
I do agree. 8.3. Okay, so we're adding that to the mix. Yeah. Okay, that's final, so I'll add them all up. 8.7, 8.5, 8.3, 6.5. Where's 8.6?
Mine was 8.5. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, round number.
8. That's fantastic. Whole number.
Wow.
Look at that. Okay, so Anthony Elanga, episode 21. I'm keeping a table here with an 8. What we can do at the end of the season is we can rate all the Hassani's and see which one was the best and worst. And
little graphics.
Like a tier list of Hassani's.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Exactly.
But yeah, an 8 for Anthony Elanga. it's a debatable one, but I do think it's respectable. So there you have it. Anthony Langa, congrats with the Hassani of the week. I will put him on the Instagram like Raheem got last week. These players love it. They love getting their faces on the trophy and whatnot. But yeah, that concludes the Hassani of the week this week. Moving on, we now have to talk about the Champions League, and we're going to start with a game that we predicted last week. We already talked about one of the predictions from last week, which was the Man City-Tottenham game, which we both actually predicted wrong. We predicted City to try to get free points because predictions are ridiculously hard, and we both got that wrong. But the other two games we predicted were PSG Real Madrid and Inter Liverpool. And starting with PSG Real Madrid, it was a very tense game, which concluded with a phenomenal moment, which has sparked a lot of debate.
It has. I mean, I know you and we both watched it live, and I mean, I don't know what you think, but like you said, it was a tense game. Not much happened on either end. It seemed like both teams, maybe just Real Madrid, were kind of going for that draw.
Yeah.
Especially away. But I mean, Verratti stood out to me.
Oh, Verratti was so good. He was so
did
good.
Very well in the midfield.
Do you remember that turn that he had where the ball was going back towards his own goal? They were in the opposing half. They were in Real's half, but the ball kind of went over his head, and then he turned, and he like trapped it and did a 180 turn right back into the box again, and then found a pass. I was just like, that's pure class.
I mean, there's nothing to me, like, it's very hard to beat, like, it's very easy on the eye when a midfielder has a very good game, like a Pogba or a Kante or a Verratti.
Yeah.
When they have a like very world-class game,
yeah,
it's very like fun to watch.
Well, they're just switching the ball.
Yeah,
and they're just not losing it.
Incredible passes, beating a player on a dribble, like body feints and everything. So shout out to him, even though he didn't really take the headlines in the game.
That's true. And that's something to note for the Hassani. He didn't even get a mention for the nomination, but obviously, for all these awards, for the headlines, for everything, it's more just who scored the goals, who made the real like stat sheet impacts. But he's just so behind the scenes, and he works that magic for PSG.
He does. So yes, and then towards the end of the game, Mbappe was brought down in the penalty box. Messi took the penalty, missed it, or Courtois saved it, and I mean, you kind of got to give it to Mbappe in that situation. In my opinion, even though Messi is on the field, Neymar wasn't at that point. Mbappe won the penalty. I feel like he has more confidence this season.
Yeah, well, it's pretty clear.
Than Messi.
He's got phenomenal stats.
Yes. And he then went on to win the game with a 94th minute goal. He beat two defenders in the box and then put it past Courtois through the legs. It was an incredible goal.
Yeah.
Which kind of, sparked a little debate.
It did. It's a debate that I think we're going to have.
Yeah.
We are planning it out right now, but we're thinking about adopting a method where we have certain episodes targeted at certain topics and genres of our podcast. And we're thinking about having a debate section and then some other sections. And debates would be where we both bring facts and we both take a stance on one side. And then we fight it out and see what the chat thinks, see what we think, and so on. And so the debate that kind of sparked there was Mbappe versus Salah, best player in the world at the moment.
Yeah.
And there was lots of conversation within our own group chat with I don't know, 8 other people about it, and there was lots of arguing going on, and lots of people accusing other people of being idiots and whatnot.
Yes.
But it is a great debate, and it's kind of weird that everyone's talking about this because you move so quickly from the two GOATs, Messi and Ronaldo, being pretty inevitably the best players in the world, to two whole new people that are currently the best players in the world. But honestly, I could see next year having 2 totally different people in that position.
Yeah, even in the next
month.
Yeah, like end of the season, you could say, oh, this guy didn't had a better season than
exactly.
Mbappe or Salah, but
Mitrovic.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but also Salah answered in that debate with the Inter-Liverpool game.
Well, he didn't answer entire. Like he didn't seal the deal. See, this
No.
is where we differ.
Well, but he answered Mbappe's goal
He did.
with the goal himself. Not as high quality, but
It wasn't.
still it all counts on the score sheet.
Yeah.
You know, we watched a bit of the game and it was very even.
It was.
You know, when you see the scoreline 2-0 to Liverpool, you think, oh, Klopp masterclass in the Champions League once again, away. Inter are just miles off of Liverpool. But honestly, Inter had many chances to go ahead. But Bobby Firmino, out of all people, scored. Wonderful header.
It was a very good header. I do
Very
have
good.
to admit, someone who doesn't score a lot, but when he does, they're usually pretty sweet, and that one was pretty sweet.
It was. And then, like I said, Salah, after that, made it 2-0. Kind of wrapped up the game.
Scrappy goal.
Yeah.
A couple deflections.
Left-footed as well. Left-footed player. So
It wasn't anything special. It was typical strong foot strike, 10 yards out, scramble of people in front of it, bounces a couple times,
Yep.
and just trickles in past the keeper who had no idea where it was going.
no. And it was just a classic Liverpool game.
It was.
Get the goals when they need them. Inter, I think, unlucky.
They hit the crossbar, and they had a couple other times where they definitely deserved to have better looks and possibly have at least a goal on the score sheet. It's a respectable result, but I do think that Inter did kind of get robbed there, and I will be interested to see what happens in the second leg.
Exactly. And then in the other Champions League games, like we said, Pulisic scored in a 2-0 win for Chelsea over Lille. Kai Havertz as well scored. I mean, another tough one for Lille, tough matchup.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Actually the first half. I don't know if you were able to catch the whole game because I know these Champions League games aren't on the weekend, so it's kind of hard if you have stuff scheduled. But I was able to catch it live, and the first half was, although Chelsea went up 1-0. It was a very even first half. You saw a lot of counterattacks and good play from Lille, getting down the wings. You had Bamba who was running through and doing very well. And overall, it was a super solid performance. I thought Renato Sanchez played really, really well. Obviously, a fan favorite of most Lille fans. But it just wasn't quite enough. They were getting chances, and they were putting them on target, and they were getting in the opposing half of Chelsea, but it just wasn't enough. And when you have a Chelsea team that is world champions, European champions, and so deep within their squad, it's really hard to win a game when you don't capitalize on those chances that you get, especially coming from a Lille team that, although is very good in Ligue 1, they're not the same level of class that you get from a European and world champion. Another thing that I noticed, though, throughout that game that I thought was interesting is that it took Thomas Tuchel 70 minutes or 75 minutes to sub Marcos Alonso out, although he was pulling his hair out on the sidelines every time he touched the ball. Marcos Alonso had a dreadful performance.
Really?
Not a player that I hate at all. I think he's really good, and I think he has a lot to offer in that left-back position, although I would say that if you look at that Chelsea back line, without Reece James and without Ben Chilwell, when they're playing that 4-back now, he is maybe the one weaker link on the team, but still someone I think is a fantastic player and deserves to be on that Chelsea team and getting time, but he had a dreadful performance. I mean, you look at almost every other pass was intercepted. He probably took on 4 or 5 guys in the first half and lost it 3 times. Especially coming from that left back position, that's not okay because you're, one player behind you between the goal and yourself. And also, he was getting absolutely obliterated on that right side by Renato Sanchez. Like, he was just running through him. So it was a really poor performance from him individually. And he eventually took him out and replaced him with Malang Sarr, who did much better in that position for the last 15 minutes. But it took him so long to sub him out, and I thought it was so interesting because Thomas Tuchel is one of those guys that you think is not one to wait to sub people out. I mean, he literally subbed Hudson-Odoi on and then back off once.
Yeah.
And he's been someone who says, if you're not performing for me on the field, I'm going to take you out, and I'm going to do it quick because I have people on the bench that I can replace you with. So I thought it was really interesting that he waited so long and was so patient with Marcos Alonso all the way until 70 minutes into the game when they had a halftime talk, and Marcus was not playing well in the first half either, and there was just a lot of times when you're like, he needs to come out. If you take him out, you're going to be much better off, because that's where a lot of Lille's chances were coming from, down that right side. So I think it was kind of interesting that he didn't take him off quicker, and also I wonder if that's kind of a weak spot in Tuchel's game right now, where when he gets to stages that are further down the line, Champions League round of 16, and as they advance farther in this competition, if he will start to be, losing his morals or his sense of how he coaches, something we've seen with Pep before in really big games. So I think that's just something to keep note of. I thought it was really interesting, but overall, good Chelsea 2-0 win, and nothing to complain about too much besides the individual performances from certain players. But moving off of that, do you think that there is a tie? I know I have mine that I'm picking or that I've chosen, but do you think that there's a tie that is most likely to be turned on its head with the second leg games? Obviously, away goals were taken away, which is, that's kind of weird. Away goals were taken away. They are no longer using the away goals rule, and it's quite controversial whether that's good or not, but no matter what, it's happening. So there is no regard to did you score when you're at home versus did you score when you're away. But do you think there's a certain game that might be turned on its head, or you might get an unexpected result in the second leg?
Well, looking at it, there's 4 games that there's a team winning after the first leg, and there's 4 games that are tied. So out of the 4 that have a leader right now, I'd say most likely Real Madrid, based on the fact that they are at home. It's only a 1 goal
I would agree.
lead.
That's probably the most likely one. It's only 1 goal, like you said.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the guy who just goes the most likely. And I know I talked about how Inter looked very good and had a lot of looks, and there is a chance that they can turn that game around. So I would probably go with Inter in that Inter-Liverpool tie. I think that Inter squad is really, really solid. Even with losing Romelu Lukaku last year, they were able to replace him pretty well with Edin Dzeko, and they just overall have a very good team. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to turn that tie around, but it's going to be hard. They just lost 2-0 at the San Siro when it was packed full, and there was so many people there rooting for them. So they are going to be going away to Anfield, which is a tough place to play in the Champions League. And I think that would be the main reason that they wouldn't be able to do it. But there is definitely a chance there.
It reminds me, if they are able to do it, it would remind me of the Liverpool Atletico tie, where Marcus Llorente and
incredible
Alvaro Morata scored, I believe, at Anfield, and they won like 4-2 or something in overtime. It was just a crazy game, not expected whatsoever. So I think if Inter can put away the chances they had, similar or not similar to what they did in the first leg, but if they do put those away and give Liverpool a game, I think 2 goals is definitely possible for them. Especially because no away goals, so Liverpool don't have that advantage either. It's just going to be 2-2.
Definitely.
I think they could take them at least far, but I don't know.
It's unlikely.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid are more likely to come out stronger in this game with the just the players they have with Benzema and
agreed
everything. So
but very solid matchups. Obviously, the next round of matches in the round of 16, the second leg matches, are going to be much more suspenseful and meaningful to fans. I know I'm looking forward to them more than I was looking forward to the first leg matches, because no matter what happens in these first leg games, you're not getting any deal breakers. Unless you lose like 5-0, there's always a chance. And seeing,
like Sporting did.
But seeing big comebacks or trying to score that late goal to advance is always what you want to see in the Champions League. So I'm really excited for the next round of matches. But overall, great round of 16, and very happy with everything that I saw. I think there was some really quality play, and depending on how things go in the round of 16, I think there is a chance, especially with teams like Ajax in it still, and maybe Lille coming back or some other teams like that, that we could see some runs like we saw in that 2019 Champs League.
That would be great. And, I mean, we didn't even mention, but Ajax drew 2-2, which they were part of that big season, so hopefully they get through.
That's they're a lovely team to watch. Yeah. Very, very good team to watch. Moving on to predictions, one of your guys' favorite parts of the podcast, and not one of really my least favorite parts of the podcast, because as you can see on screen, my record is currently 4-11, and so I have some justification behind this, right? You have to think that Ave said beard or scattered hairs, and that's just for everyone who's listening. Technical director Sutton has a great beard that he's grown. So if you guys could just like DM the Class on Grass Media Instagram and just like show your affection towards Sutton's beard,
is that great. Beard oils or anything?
Yeah, do you put beard oil in it?
Or is it just, all natural?
It's all natural.
It's all natural. That's fantastic. Are you planning to continue growing it out?
I'll shave it before No Mask SBA.
Before our school
so
switches.
If you want to see it, you might have to get in contact with him.
Yeah, we're not gonna give any of his information out. We've already given a lot out.
Before next episode. It will be gone before next episode.
You can find him. He's in Minnesota somewhere. Look for him. Find him. Get more information on how he grows that beautiful, lovely beard.
It's great.
Wait, so you're going to shave it off before people are going to see your face?
Yeah.
But why would you do that? Why wouldn't you want to...
People have already seen my face.
Yes.
Lunch and stuff.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you want to let it keep growing and then show it off to everyone? Show it off to the ladies, the beautiful beard.
Food gets in it.
Ooh, food gets in it. Yeah. That's what happens when you have a big, huge beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd think that you could store snacks in there. That'd be kind of weird, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but possible, I think.
Yeah, Sutton, are you an NHL player? Secretly, behind the scenes?
I could see it.
Technical director by day, NHL player by night.
Yeah.
Is there an NHL player that reminds you of Sutton? Is there any ginger NHL players?
I believe so.
I just given another piece of information about technical director Sutton out to the people. If you're looking for him, he's ginger.
You're like the main dude on the Oilers or whatever.
On the
Connor
Oilers?
McDavid?
Yeah.
Connor McDavid. Look at that.
Wow,
That's fantastic.
That is what we need.
That is beautiful. You just got to show that to the camera. Which one do we have to look?
Can we see that?
Yeah, go to a big screen. Go to a big screen so we can show everyone. For everyone listening, you got to make it big, though.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can you see that?
No, it's probably that one.
It's this one.
Yeah.
Lower it down a little bit. They can see the afro and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Who is it? For everyone listening, we've got a picture of a NHL player.
I don't know.
No, they had the name in it. Oh, it's a Twitter account called Ginger Hockey Player.
So check out the Ginger Hockey Player at Ginger Hockey TLY. Free shout out. Great flow.
Oh, he does. I feel like if I grew my hair out, there's a chance that I could have a similar.
Who is this man?
Look, I'm really interested to see who it is.
Got to get him on the pod.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, they've got a whole plethora of people. We got to find the exact picture,
who
and
is
then
it?
We're good. If any of you know who the Ginger Hockey Player is on Twitter,
with an afro and a great beard,
let us know.
I don't think we'll find it in this.
Angie said keep the beard until Leo gets to 50% on predictions. Study, you're going to keep that beard for a long time.
Yeah.
A long, long time. As you guys can probably see on screen, and if you're listening, I'll tell you right now, my record is 4-11.
6-9 is very respectable.
Yeah, Max said 6-9, which is not bad, but I have a reason.
I'm a 3-0 away from 500.
You are. But I have a reason for this, right? Every time you predict a match, I know we talked about the math here, but
we've introduced math a lot into the podcast.
We have. I was just doing it. It is kind of
with the numbers,
It's kind of concerning.
I don't know. We're gonna expose ourselves with how bad we are.
Oh, we are. Yeah, I had to use a calculator to find the average of two numbers.
Yeah.
I literally used the calculator to find the average of 8.5 and 8.7. Not ideal.
No.
But the math here that we've, figured out about the matches that's definitely not accurate, but seems somewhat correct, would be like 20% draw, 40% win, 40% loss.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you pick any of them, there's a 60% chance. Well, if you pick win or loss, there's a 60% chance you don't get it right. And if you pick draw, there's an 80% chance you don't get it right. So you're always...
When I predicted draw for the PSG,
you were very close.
I was very close.
Very, very close. But there's always a bigger chance that you don't get it right than you do. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm 4-11. It's not my ability to predict. It's just the statistics. You know what I mean?
It's not your fault.
It's not my
chose
fault.
The wrong team.
Of course not.
It's never your fault.
Okay. Starting with the real predictions for this week. First game, Napoli versus Barcelona. What are we saying?
Europa League matchup.
Second madness.
Leg. It's 1-1 on aggregate. At the Diego Maradona Stadium in Napoli.
Diego Armando Maradona. Oh, behind us. At the
there we go.
Maradona Stadium.
There we go.
Yeah.
For context, in the first leg, Barca had 21 shots in the game.
Goodness
and
me.
Missed many of them. As you can see, they only scored one
goal.
goal.
They only scored one of them. If they made more than 21, I'd be concerned because the score was 1-1.
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to go first? Or
you got it.
Okay. So I'm thinking for this one, I'm just a fan of the Barca team, and I want them to do well.
Pierre is there.
Pierre has...
Oh, that was one we should have included.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a tough one from us.
Honorable mention. But I think he's done well with Arsenal in the Europa League in the past, and I think he'll continue that with Barcelona. Barcelona with a win away in the Europa League to push through the next round.
So, do you want me to go with what my heart says, or do you want me to go with what the records need?
If you've been going with your heart in the past, it's obviously not working. So
I think that you always need to just go with what your heart says.
I don't think the records...
Not when you're 7 games away from 500, I think.
No, but okay, so I'm going with what my heart says.
Okay.
Napoli with a win.
Okay. I mean, I think that's...
It's always possible.
Yeah.
But it's going to be... I'm also understanding that it's going to be tough to recover my record anyway. I think
you're
it's
in damage control right now. Just don't let it get too far away there.
I think it already is.
You can really...
If I go 0-3, I'm going to be 4-14.
I mean,
that's so bad.
The difference between getting 1 right and 2 wrong versus getting 2 right and 1 wrong is so hard.
It's really hard, but the difference between them is just 1 game.
Yeah, but you think about it like that, but then you think like, oh, you got 1 right, like that's okay. That's pretty good. It's really different. But getting 2
Have you ever
right,
gotten 2 right?
Yeah.
This past week?
I've done it once. I think you've done it once too.
No, I haven't.
I think the first time you did once.
Oh yeah. No, I was 2. Yeah, I was 2-1. The good old days.
And then I was 1-2, and then I was like 2-4. Yeah. So you're going for a Napoli win. I'm going for a Barcelona win. Second game, MLS is back. The greatest competition, the greatest league.
It is one of the best.
Greatest
league.
Let's
be real here. It is one of the best.
We've said it since day one. No one can predict this league whatsoever.
No, the only people who can predict this league. These supporters pod.
It's true.
Plug
MLS
them.
Analysis.
Plug them. MLS Analysis, a Class on Grass media production. But it is one of the most unpredictable leagues. I mean, if you want true, I don't want to say unpredictability again, but it is like if you want a league
madness.
That you have madness, you have no idea what's going on, and you can just go with the team, and you could be super right or super wrong. Follow the MLS. But with that in mind, Philadelphia Union versus Minnesota United, I have to go with our homeboys. I have to go with Minnesota United. They are the squad that we root for, and I don't think whenever Minnesota United is in here that I can ever go against them. No way are you about to say Philadelphia Union.
No.
There's no chance you're about to say that.
No. Draw.
You're not a real fan. You're not a real fan then.
Okay.
I don't believe you're a real fan if you say a draw here.
It's a draw.
No, stop. You can't do that. Will Trapp is a legend. Thank you,
so
Angie.
if you look at
Will Trapp's one of the best
players in the
world.
Our preseason games, I don't think we've scored I think we've tied every preseason game pretty much.
We have. They've been like 1-1.
Yeah,
0-0.
it's been 0-0, 1-1. So we're not.
But you're
scoring.
underestimating that Patrick Way is going to heal from his ACL in the next 4 days.
We're going very backwards in the sense that we just signed in the offseason 2 players that we let go.
Yeah, Amaria signing to the squad
and
again is not what I wanted to see.
2 players that didn't really
2
live up
strikers
to
that
it.
weren't good enough or just got injuries constantly.
And we were like, all right, let's move on. And then we realized last year the depth at striker wasn't there. So let's just bring in players that we know really aren't
good. Let's just bring in
quality.
players. Let's bring in proven players that aren't good enough. For everyone who's wondering, just so we can emphasize it, Minnesota United in this offseason brought back Abu Danladi, who was our draft pick from the initial season, the inaugural 2017 season, and was good initially, but then pulled up with a lot of hamstrings and wasn't able to continue with us. So we brought him back, and then we also brought back Amaria,
who just last 2 years ago.
Yeah, he was with us 2 years ago, then left, and now he's back. I just don't know what the reasoning for that is.
It will be a celebration on the podcast when Adrian Heath finally leaves the club.
I didn't say that.
I think we're grateful for all he's done.
Yeah.
But like with every single manager at every club, there is a time to move on, and I think it is soon. But he did.
Minnesota United fans are getting a bit antsy.
He did get us to an MLS is Back tournament final.
Oh, he's done great things for us. But I do think that, there are clubs, for example, Brighton. I love Chris Hughton.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything he did for the club of Brighton and Hove Albion. He brought us from the Championship to the Premier League. He established us as a Premier League side, and he didn't get us relegated. You know what I mean? He did really well, generally speaking. But then we moved on, and we brought in Graham Potter. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And Chris Hughton was a phenomenal manager. We loved him. But then we brought in Graham Potter, and he has solidified us as a good Premier League team that plays good football and doesn't look like they're going to get relegated anytime soon. Every time with Chris Hughton, we looked like we were going to get relegated just because of his play style that he played. There's nothing wrong with it, but we needed a change in play style to succeed in the league. So I think that there are times with a team that you need that. And I think that Minnesota United is on the cusp of needing a change, not only to be better as a team, but because the fans want to see something different.
Yeah. And granted, we did make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Last season, even though there are a lot of complaints about the manager, but it'll be telling these first couple games to see, is it going to be a struggle to get into the playoffs? Are we going to make it into playoffs at all? Does Heath work his magic somehow and we get, we do fine or regular how we've done the past couple seasons? We'll see. I'm going for a draw.
That's tough.
For our final matchup, it is a cup final, a Carabao
It is a cup final, but it's like the least
yeah
emphasized cup final ever.
It's a Carabao Cup final, Chelsea versus Liverpool at Wembley.
Yes.
Did you went first, so I go first now. A draw. No.
If you guessed a draw, wait.
Yeah, you can't really.
I was going to say, if you guessed a draw and got it right, that would be crazy. But then I realized it wouldn't just be crazy, it would be impossible.
It'd be quite impossible. I'm not sure how that would happen. But
they'd have to have been in penalties forever.
Yeah. See, I'm going Liverpool. Based on the fact that they're on better form, they're high on confidence, they're catching up to City. Everything seems to be going right. Chelsea are always a bit of an oddball in these big games. Either they're on fire, but I think, like you said, defensively, without Chilwell and Reece James, they've struggled a little bit, and I'm going Liverpool's going to pull away with the trophy.
I would have to agree. Liverpool with the trophy. We did disagree on 2, so I'm fine to go.
Yeah, we're good.
This one is the same.
We usually agree on the last one, or we did last week too.
I wonder if that's a trend.
Man City.
But yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Liverpool. I swear, if I come out of this 4-14, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
You have to retire.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to completely retire.
You might have to go into bankruptcy or whatever. Where
Yeah, file for
the
bankruptcy.
government has to like take
Government
over.
funding for my prediction records.
But just for like more wins.
Yeah. They like fund me wins just to keep me in the running.
They loan you wins, so then you have to.
Oh, I have to
back.
pay him back with interest.
Yeah, at some point you have to get like a certain number back. So that's it for predictions.
Last thing on the agenda, the big fantasy.
Fantasy as always.
Fantasy Premier League.
We tend to do a little better. Still, I'm at least in a good position in my draft team. I think you're still, or you're behind me actually. You're third, I think.
Let me just pull up
there it is.
The scores right now.
I will say there were games today, so it's not completely updated, but this was from a day or two ago. But I did get 56 points before the games today.
Great stuff.
Which is incredible by me.
And you're talking regular?
Yes. And
go full screen on that so I can see mine.
Yes.
There we go. So I had 20 on it.
You had 20. Wow.
No, but don't worry. 38.
I think I have 68 now.
The average was 76 though, which is kind of strange. That's a really high.
It jumped
average.
from 4. I think it's because a lot of people have Salah. And
yeah.
They capped him in. What? 38? What are you talking about? You capped in.
Look at my last bench player.
So, where was the thinking there?
I had for everyone
here,
watching and listening, because we don't have that up. I had Mo Salah in my last bench position, not captained, and he got 28 points. There is no chance he's gonna move in. That's so bad. That's so bad.
Why was he on the bench in the first place?
Because he was at AFCON.
Oh, see, I never moved him out from my team, and that's where it pays dividends for my draft team. He's still in there. I'm sure I have way more than 42 now, but Ward-Prowse getting in there with points, Smith Rowe with 11. I mean, my draft team's always on fire. I'm still second place.
Yeah, no, your draft team's good, but I did incredibly well as well.
You did.
For this draft. Let's see here.
I think you're third, if you want to check.
Yeah, I'm going into it again. I went out on accident. First is probably...
Is it Eli or James?
I think it's James. Yeah, James is first. I'm third right now, which is not bad. I have 45 points on the league, and this week I had 48 points. How did you get 57 for me? You got 57 on mine. I had 48.
Really?
Yeah, wait, hold on.
Was it from last week, maybe?
Yeah, it might have been. That's fine, though. I had 57. Or wait, no, I had 48.
Did you win your game?
Did I win my game?
Your fixture?
Let's see here. League. You gotta get into my...
You go to fixtures.
I'm like a grandpa here.
Or results.
I think it's league.
It's league, and then... Well, I do it on the computer. But
it's fixtures. Yeah, I won. Yeah. I played Paul, guilty and charged.
So we both won.
Yeah. Oh, Greg's in the... Thank you for being here, Greg. He is one of our close amigos.
Yes.
And he is
friend of the pod.
Yeah, friend of the pod, and he is apparently in the pod right now, which is great. Good to see you, Greg, or good to have you here. But yeah, that concludes the fantasy action for this week, and also concludes the podcast. Before we finish it out and end it, I did get a text with who the Ginger Beast is in the NHL. Joe Thornton. From the Sharks. That's an NHL team.
All right. Suddy, you should write that down. Maybe do some research.
Suddy is Joe Thornton. For everyone's. Thornton. So people who are trying to find Suddy before he shaves his beard on Monday, look for someone who looks like Joe Thornton in the or Yukon Cornelius.
Yes, from the the coveted Red-Nosed Reindeer movie.
So look for someone who looks like either of those people, and look for them in the MSP area.
Yep.
If you find them, beg them to not shave their beard. And
say,
if it's...
do you work for COG?
Yeah, say, do you work for COG? And
if
they
say...
yes
or no, then you'll find
What if someone says yes and they're not, Suddy? There are a lot of people who want to work for us.
Yeah, lines out the door. But
the applications are getting a bit heavy.
Yeah.
But Yeah, if you find him, let us know and see if you can convince him not to shave his beard, because we are not pro beard shaving. But yes, that concludes this week's podcast. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope it was a great time, and hope that you have a great rest of your week. Peace.